is that of a mother. So, well, everything goes well in the organization. The children are doing perfectly well. They're good children. But if things go wrong, that is, the departments are performing well. But if things go wrong, the HR is to blame or the mother is to blame. So, well, we have strong shoulders to manage that. Now, as far as the topic goes on leadership pipeline, now, what we were doing at one point in time was that we were checking on the appraisal ratings of people, and that was a conventional method that we were following. So we were checking on the appraisal ratings, and people who were rated, say, outstanding or extremely, extremely good over the last 5 years, we were sending them for such leadership programs. So what brought me to an issue that once when I was talking to my child and I was asking him as a small child, what's leadership? And he gave me an insight into leadership, and he says that every day our teacher tells us to stand in a line, and the person who is ahead of the line is the leader. But he also said that every day she changes the person. So every one of us is a leader. So when we came to that, when I thought of that everybody in the organization is a leader, am I doing the right thing by checking on the appraisal ratings and then sending people for leadership programs? That is when we decided to make everyone a leader in the organization, and we were grooming everybody in that manner. Now that threw up another issue, that when we were questioned that, okay, why don't you select people? Why are you doing it that way, that everyone is a leader? Where is your competency in selecting people? That is one of the issues that I'd like to think about over here. The second issue is that me as an HR person is given the task, okay, of motivating the whole team. So my task is to motivate the whole team, but we promote in a pyramidal fashion, in the pyramid. How do I motivate everybody, keep them motivated, and also manage the pyramid that's there? Another thing that we are facing a challenge is that, okay, we have advanced our technology to such an extent that we've gone in for almost unmanned substations. Now, when this technology was being developed, I as an HR person had brought it up. Are we ready to go in for that kind of an unmanned, completely unmanned? And then we realized that actually we can't have unmanned, we should have only 4 to 5 people in a substation. Now in a substation, which is kilometers and kilometers away from any kind of civilization, can I have 5 people staying there? How does HR manage the motivation, and how do you look after those 5 people who are staying, 20 miles from any kind of civilization? That was another issue that we were faced with as far as HR is concerned. Then we've also talked in the last session about the 360 degrees appraisal system, which is also one of the issues. Now, is everybody as tactful to give feedback in that manner, however well you're trained, number one? And is every boss, so open as to receive that kind of feedback that people are giving as far as leadership is concerned? So that is also where the role, it's a tightrope walk as far as HR is concerned. Another issue is that, we were talking of training people in technology, right? So we train people as far as our technology is concerned, HVDC is concerned, but then there's another government guideline that says that every 3 years you need to transfer the person. All right. So every 3 years when I transfer the person, do I have that same competency available with me? And have I developed another person in that kind of a role? Many times what happens is that by the time a person starts getting used to the place, and we have very difficult postings, it's time to move him away by the time he settles down. But we are, operating in those kind of constraints, and these are the issues that I'd like to throw up. There are a few other ones which are probably blindsiding me at present. Is again, somebody was talking of the bell curve. Right? How can I have an organization performing so very well, where everything has increased by leaps and bounds, whereas I give outstanding only to 15% of the people. And in a public sector, people look forward to the promotions, they look forward to their appraisal ratings. And how do I manage this? So, is the academic world and the theories that they propagate, are they in line with the actual problems that we are facing within the organization? While hire and fire may be a concept which is very well taken in the West, you see, they have a social security system. But in the public sector, when I fire a person or when I move him out, do we have a social security system that can take care of his family? So these were the various issues that had, that keep coming up at the micro level while dealing with HR. And I'd like a lot of us to, debate on these small issues, because this is where the minor irritants lie, and this is where the success or the failure of the HR is, comes out. It's nice to talk of big things, but these are the things that are actually worrying us as HR people. That how do we manage the best vis-a-vis the grassroots realities that do exist? Because people are people, and as in the last session, I think Jayant or someone was saying, that are we actually reducing people to numbers? Don't they have feelings? The moment I try to motivate one, am I demotivating 90 others? What am I doing? So these were the issues that I thought I'd like to bring up, and thank you so much, sir.
Meenakshi, since you are the only panelist who are from PSU, let me ask a question. Yes. See, for directors and CMDs, it is PSB and then ACC and then PMO which takes care of selection. In case you make a pipeline building leadership, you make a succession plan, then you are not sure that your candidate whom you have invested on and you have trained for the last 10-15 years, you are not 10% sure that he will get selected. In that case, how PSUs can make pipeline for leadership?
I think, sir, we would work where in our, I would say, circle of influence, and if we train people at the engineer level to become good executive directors, you see, and they spend, say, 30 to 33 years of their career in that leadership to become an executive director, and then we leave them in the ocean. And then we say, okay, now you swim or sail for yourself. So I think that's the way we'll have to go, because there are these constraints, sir.
Now, let me ask Mr. Gautam, what is the system and how you plan succession planning and pipeline for leadership?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sudhir. And I think, like he mentioned, one of the challenges we face is that this is probably the last session and we need to keep it short. So I think the leadership challenge for this whole group is to make sure that, we end on time. I just want to tell you that before I joined infrastructure, I spent a lot of time in financial services. And in financial services, and I still look at read Economic Times, spend a lot of time on TV looking at, programs like Market Movers, Market Guru, and so on and so forth. A couple of years back, when I was listening to a very senior fund manager talking about the power sector, the person actually asked him that which is the sector that you will stay away or not invest in the next 2 or 3 years. And his immediate reply was the energy and the power sector. And he said that there are huge structural changes happening in this sector, and I do not believe that this is going to change for the next 4 or 5 years. Now we need to understand that fund managers or financial markets are able to price or understand sectors and businesses faster than we do. And they are the ones who first understand the business, and then it is the customers, and then it is the employees, and then it is the manufacturers, and so on. So that is the line of cascade that moves on. So, and that's what is happening today. If you really look at it, I would like to place before you a very contrarian view. The point is that today, I think a lot of companies, NTPC, a lot of companies in public sector or private sector, including Tata Power, have generated a lot of leaders, a lot of this pipeline has been created, and a lot of these people are already in various other companies. But today, I think we have a situation where the leadership pipeline is choking, in the sense, because if you really look at the overall sector, the plant load factor today is probably at 68 or 70%. We have a huge amount of leadership talent, and we don't know what is going to happen for that talent, especially at the middle level. And if we are not very careful, the challenge that we will face is that this talent will begin to flow out of this sector. Already this sector is getting some sort of a negative image, saying that, this is not the place to be, because a lot of my panelists have also pointed out that there are challenges relating to remote locations. There are challenges relating to the fact that you move from one location to another every 3 or 5 years, so you really can't develop your roots. And there are challenges that are associated with whether there is enough growth happening in this sector. So I think today, the bigger challenges that we have is how do we retain leadership talent? I think we have a great pipeline. We've put people through assessment centers. We've put people through development. There's a huge amount of money that companies have invested. I think the question today we have to ask ourselves is that what do we do with this leadership pipeline that is currently choking in the system?
Gautam, very simple question for you. Since you are from private sector, can you just explain or tell us that how leadership or succession planning is conducted in a private organization like JSW?
Sure. So in JSW, for example, we have this whole process of potential assessment, which is actually involving senior leaders or senior managers. A list is drawn out based on their performance, their background, their track record, their tenure, and feedback from their immediate managers. We look at that list, we put them through a detailed assessment center. This assessment center is run by a third party. Some of these assessments take 1 day, 1.5 days, 2 days. At the end, we have data on these assessment centers. We have something called a talent review board, which exists at 2 levels. At the senior most level, even the MD is involved in the board discussions. We get a list of people, we identify what is their individual development plan. We look at the demand and supply situation within the organization in the form of workforce planning, saying that if we are going to grow over the next 4 or 5 years, and this is the capacity we are adding, and these are the plants we are going to look into, and these are the retirement cases, and these are the potential attrition that we may have, we then match the demand and supply right down to the role and right down to the individual. So we have a complete mapping of the individual, his position, the succession plan, and then the talent review council actually every 6 months review this on a continuous basis. This is also built on a very strong fundamental that we do not, as a principle, hire from outside unless we have enough opportunities are given for people internally, especially the high potential candidates.
You just referred the competency mapping, and I have one personal experience. In one of the organization, I got conducted competency mapping of general managers and above. And results were just surprising. The one who used to be taken as very intelligent was the worst performer in competency mapping. And the one who was very poor, looks like to be poor, unintelligent, he scored very high in competency mapping for this area. वर्मा साहब आप बताइए ऐसा क्यों होता है? आप प्योर academician हैं.
I'm a pure academician. At times I say thank God for that. At least I do not have to defend what I do. Couple of thoughts over here, and I think, and I'm going to submit to all of us. I think the very notion of talent pipeline is to ensure that there are right people who have the right skill set, who are at the right place at the right time. That's what leadership pipeline for me is all about. And it goes back right from the time when Ram Charan wrote his book on leadership pipeline, where he said that leadership pipeline is all about ensuring that the person who gets into your organization, how does he get to the top? So he goes through normally 6 passages. And this passage of transition is right from managing the function to managing the product, managing the business, managing the group, and managing the entire enterprise. At all these levels, the skill set that is required, the time application that is required, they keep on changing. The problem is that